to banks, but with a more hands-on and experienced approach, as we're going to now have a fireside chat around the topic of report from the field on how banks and institutions globally have started offering digital assets. And to moderate this fireside chat, I'd like to give a warm welcome to Felix Simon, a digital asset expert at Incor Bank that is responsible for transacting banking services across traditional and digital assets. And he'll be joined by his guest, Tristan Thoma, via link, who is AlphaPoint's Director of Product for Government and Payments and who has great experience, not least from El Salvador. So I hand over the word to you, Felix.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. It's interesting to do this, to switch over to the Zoom call. I would like to welcome Tristan. Tristan, can you hear us? Does everything work out technologically?
Yes, I can. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Excellent. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well. So the topic today is how banks globally got started their offering in digital assets. But maybe to kick it off before we go that, can you give us a quick background on you? Because I see that you are really a global person. You are working for a US company. As far as I know, you're based in New York, the company. However, you're responsible for Asian markets as well as the whole of LATAM, as I saw it.
Yeah, so a little bit of background. Well, firstly on AlphaPoint. AlphaPoint powers exchanges and payment systems for cryptocurrencies around the world, and we've been around for almost a decade now. So 10 years in the crypto space is quite a long time. We've seen a lot of iterations of, different institutions implementing crypto assets, and we have operations all throughout the world, as you had mentioned, throughout Latin America, Asia, Europe, and we really have a strong presence globally. My background has been in crypto for about 7 years. I started by consulting on different institutions on either tokenization or blockchain implementation on a commercial level with a lot of legacy systems. And within the past year and a half, we've seen a tremendous uptick actually in large scale institutions, governments, banks, not only talking about and hypothesizing what digital asset offerings will be, but really kind of taking real steps to implementing them. And I'm happy to go into those examples here today.
Excellent. Yes, I will ask you a little bit of the legacy systems and how that actually works. But let's start one step behind. So we're talking about banks implementing it globally. Now, here at the crypto conference, we are proud to be in Switzerland, a country which is very strongly supporting this innovative industry. How can you see a little bit? Can you give us a little bit of scope of which continents or jurisdictions you're active in, or that AlphaPoint is in? Some differences and probably what you like most about it, and where?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a really strong presence actually in both Latin America, or between Latin America, Europe, and Asia. Within Latin America, we actually just signed on one of the biggest banks to be providing their crypto services for trading and order management in order for them to offer to their clients, their existing user base. And that's across the board. It's been a tremendous process of technical conversations, investigating the integrative ability of AlphaPoint software that's been built over the past 10 years to support the type of volume and really meticulousness that is required within the banking industry. We also power one of the largest Thai banks in Thailand, as well as within Switzerland. SMART VALOR is a client of ours and a very esteemed client of ours. We work incredibly well together. We've seen, the growth and offering on a very high degree of excellence and reliability for the integration of cryptocurrencies, along with all of the other services that Smart Valor offers, wealth management now, including NFTs. But it really starts from a basis of what is the value or what is the pedigree that is required for a financial institution that is regulated, that understands and goes through daily all of the scrutinies that are required of a regulated financial institution. And that's something that we have the experience in, powering, for example, banks already over the past several years. We have, for example, a SOC certification. And I'm sure in these talks, I've heard a lot of mentions about FTX, things like this. We actually, find it very interesting, and we welcome the new wave of scrutiny and oversight that is coming to cryptocurrencies, because that's always been our approach, right? In order to power banking services that incorporate crypto, we have to be of the utmost scrutiny and of the utmost level of compliance. And that's something that we really specialize in.
But if we talk about the different actors that you're serving, I believe that also AlphaPoint, the trading software, IT background, the trading comes from the traditional market. So obviously you need to make it happen. But that works differently in the US as it does in Singapore, as it does in even within the continents, right? Seoul, Tokyo, and Hong Kong cannot be compared, and then Latin America as well. So how do you bridge that, and how does that make sense from, or what is relevant on that side on the digital assets point of view?
Yeah, so we have different compliance kind of structures within each jurisdiction that we work in, or that our clients work in. So we provide the technology core. We provide the fundamentals of executing an exchange of crypto assets, providing all of the reporting for that exchange, for that event, as well as the order management, the execution. And we work together with our clients, which would be banks or institutions, or sometimes government bodies, to ensure that the compliance required in their specific jurisdiction is met. And we also do this in an iterative process. As new laws come out, as clarifications or updates come out in every jurisdiction, our team and our council works together with each client to make sure that, according to this, we should be, for example, updating XYZ in the reporting structure, and that we do together collaboratively. There are also fundamentals, as I had mentioned, like SOC compliance, SOC 1 and SOC 2 are certifications that we've undergone the process of, that real institutions look at and recognize, and we see that that's a level of maturity.
Okay, and where does this oversight, is there anything that changed in the oversight? You say that you are happy that the oversight is increasing. That is usually only of interest in institutional actors for one group within the institution, that's the lawyers. Now, where does this actually help? And if you can put it probably in perspective of what happened the last 3 months and the past 1 year.
Absolutely. Well, I can give a personal example. I personally
always the
had
best.
some money. Yeah, right. I had some money in Celsius, and thankfully it was not a tremendous amount, but I had money there. And, I got to feel firsthand, the experience of that type of institution going down, right? Or a run on the institution in this case. And if there were then more scrutiny on, compliance and reporting, then I think that type of thing would have been prevented. And the laws that are in place today all come for a reason, right? User protection laws, they came about for a reason. And whether or not somebody might agree with the current intricacies of it that lawyers know so well, the fundamental of it is to create a trusted system. Right? We see things that happen, and a law is created to try to remediate that in the future. And so
And specifically,
As
sorry to
far,
interrupt,
yeah,
specifically, what creates that trusted system? If something bad is happening, does AlphaPoint, can you provide it? Can you provide the information for finding out what happened? Is there some backup of it? Is there some negotiation setup that can be used by those legal actors which are there and then thereafter, after the bad thing happens, going after whatever is left? Is that in
yes.
place?
Well,
And then what's the differentiation there to probably a crypto exchange, the standard setup, the standard and big actors in the room?
yeah, acting not as legal advice, but for example, we see with our clients evolution of their reporting requirements. And so, obviously together we have the cumulative data of any exchange, any trade, or any execution of a payment, perhaps within crypto, and as well as all of the integrations with the legacy banking systems and financial systems. And so, very specifically, as laws come out for reporting, where are your assets, right? If you have deposit clients or exchange clients, or however the institution might consider the class of client or the profile of the user, they would have specific rules. And so, because we've taken so much time and had so much time, very frankly, again, we've been around for a decade, we've seen the gambit, the range of different institutions reporting and compliance around the world, because we have global clients. And so when we make a change for one client, yes, that change is specific for the client and for the jurisdiction. But if, for example, as a result of Celsius or FTX, new compliance laws come out in the US or come out even in Europe, we're learning internationally, then as we develop those solutions, it goes across the board and it layers on top of the data compliance reporting structure that we've created over the past decade.
Okay. And you mentioned that where your assets at as one of the points in that, with the reporting, with the having the actually the blockchain, you have actually the literacy about it, you have it booked, and all that is relevant. Now, how does this feed into the different legacy systems? Because we are having huge differences. How does that work? Here in Switzerland, we are having banks which run on different core banking systems, and we have bridged that, but it's somewhat of a work. Now, if you're global, that might be even more enhanced, no?
Absolutely. So relating to the first part of your question of the actual custody of the assets on a digital term, we integrate with custodians. AlphaPoint generally does not do the actual custodial services of the assets, but we integrate the assets with the asset managers, being our clients. And so as those develop, and to your second point, as our clients mature, that is actually where we become even more helpful and useful in providing clarity on the assets and the movement of the assets from blockchain side to the banking side. Because again, that's kind of where we lie. We lie as this kind of web and network of allowing the two systems to work together.
Okay. And now I'm getting curious. You are not the custodian. You're feeding into it. You're taking, you're trading, and your tools are managing the in and out flows. Let's call it simplified way as that. Now, I heard that you're also involved with Chivo in El Salvador. Now, if people remember, 1.5 years ago, it was the first country who was accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. Now, how does that fit in there? Now, who's doing what?
Yeah. So yes, we do power Chivo now. We're not involved in the original launch of the system, but a few months thereafter, we took on a more primary role in supporting the Chivo ecosystem, and so we've seen a lot of tremendous developments, and we're very proud of the work that Chivo has done in increasing the reliability of the system, and it's really a great actually stepping stone and point for the entire world to see of a success of integration with crypto and legacy systems. As far as the particular actors, I unfortunately I can't give you details on that.
Let's not talk about
But
the actors currently, but for whom might this be an example? Is this an example if you're in Asia or here in Europe? Can we in Switzerland make use of that? Or how is the US stance on it? US stance are always a little bit different than the others.
Yeah, I actually, I'm not particularly familiar with the US stance as of recent. I know that there were some developments recently. However, what I've seen in Europe and Africa, as well as Latin America, are that other countries, and more specifically, combination of commercial banks and central banks, they're all developing, some type of implementation and innovation that includes cryptocurrencies. And a common theme that we're seeing is they want to take advantage of this opportunity because of the atmosphere globally of the industry, which is users want exposure to this type of digital assets, whether it be kind of Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency or other cryptocurrencies. Users want it, and so if a digital bank or a if a central bank or a commercial bank or a private bank can offer those services, can offer the integration and use trading payments with those assets, they actually capture a market share that otherwise would have gone elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
To stay on top of the innovation curve means that the users will actually look to these institutions as market leaders.
Yeah.
And that's a common theme we've been seeing is more so kind of a game theory strategic initiative of let's stay ahead of the curve, even if it doesn't start with rolling something out through an entire country or through all of a particular business's different lines, business lines. To start with it is a point of validation, and it's an indicator really for innovation and strength. And so we've seen that across the board with all of our clients and potential clients.
I'm curious to find out more about this. Our bank is offering other banks access to it and brokerage, custody, and so much more. However, what is your outlook for this? What is your one-sentence outlook for this year? What is most interesting to you?
I really think that the adoption curve is coming around. I think that a lot of the kind of excitement folly type of things has been disillusioned, and people are really kind of iterating with what a real value of a digital asset could be when it's offered to the public, whether it's in a commercial context or a retail context. Another quick example is a few years back, we actually engaged with the CME Group and the Royal Mint on the digitization of gold. And this was incredibly innovative. I mean, CME Group and the Royal Mint are incredible institutions, right? They've been building their brand and their legacy for decades. And so we worked with them closely on digitizing gold and creating a digital asset out of it. We assisted in the trading and the minting process, and it was actually what it looked like was a little ahead of the curve, almost too early in some ways.
So
and
the first movers were there already. They have shown us how it goes, but you say this year, 2023, will be the adoption year.
I think that based on conversations, I mean, banks want to implement the V1 of a retail application that could allow trading, right? We're starting to see legislation that provides enough clarity to actually, provide those applications or those tools or services publicly. And that's going to bring on a whole new wave of not only crypto trading, but crypto payments and a paradigm shift fundamentally of digital assets, meaning that they become a real use day to day, right? What we've seen across the world is people can actually use crypto and people can actually interact with it in new ways. And so I think this year is going to be tremendously innovative for real use in digital assets on an institutional level. And we certainly welcome that.
paradigm shift in the usage finally arriving. Thank you very much, Tristan Thoma, for this. And yeah, this was a little bit of a view of how AlphaPoint helped the banks globally adapting Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies overall, and a positive outlook for the year. Thank you very much for that.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Tristan. Thank you very much.